Good morning, everybody. Beth Combs here with Beth E. Combs and Canyon Community Yoga. Hope you slept well. Hope you're ready to move your bodies, kind of wake up for the day ahead. And my name is Beth Combs, and so we'll be doing kind of a combination of some slow, gentle movement and a little bit more active movement as we kind of get warmed up here. So we're going to go ahead and get seated on our mats. So if you have a cushion, you might want to grab it, or a blanket, or a big pillow from your sofa. Even something like this that's kind of thicker might work. And so today's practice, we're going to be focusing, last week we focused on chakra 1, which is the root chakra at the base of our tailbone, the base of our spine. And today we're going to talk about chakra 2. I'm also going to be talking about the luteal phase, which is the later part of our menstrual cycle, right before our bleed. This is the time that a lot of us experience PMS symptoms, anything from headaches to brain fog, feeling tired, uh, crying one minute and feeling rage the next, which are usually all signs of hormone imbalance. But I've found as I continue to do this work that even though there may be a diet component or a sleep component, there's also a social and psychological component with that. And so the second chakra is where our desires live. And so a lot of times when we get some of those PMS feelings, especially just feelings of frustration and anger, it can be a sign that we either need to set boundaries better, we need to hold boundaries, or we're moving our own desires out of the way to make room for what someone else wants. And so working with the second chakra, I think a lot of times some of us we just get so, um, the need to people please is just so strong that it's really hard to overcome that. But I hope this practice will allow you to kind of open up and listen, tune into your body, tune into the wisdom that's there. It's usually only when we create space we're able to hear that wisdom and that intuition come out a little bit more. And so just kind of tuning into that as we're doing our practice today. So that's my invitation to you to kind of see what your body might need to share with you right now, whether you're in your luteal phase or not. Um, but just an invitation for you to tune in and see what comes up for you this morning. So we're going to start in our seated cross-legged pose. So the reason you might want to sit up on a bolster or a pillow, you want your knees to be below your hips. So it doesn't have to be way below, but it has to at least kind of make a slow diagonal line down. And that actually helps take some of the tension out of your hip area. So we're going to sit up nice and tall. So really rooting those sits bones down. Maybe you feel like you need to kind of move the butt cheeks out of the way a little bit so you can really connect your sits bones to whatever you're sitting on. Feel free to close your eyes. We're going to lengthen up the spine and out the crown of the head. The chin is parallel with the floor. And we'll just begin to lengthen our inhales and our exhales. So the first thing I like to do when I'm feeling frustrated is to tune into my breath. Has my breath become short and shallow? And then one technique I like to use to get rid of any frustration that's just kind of pent up in my body is to actually inhale through the nose and then exhale out the mouth. So we'll do that now. And you can sigh and make as much noise as you want to on the exhale. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale. And one more time. Inhale. And you can continue to do that throughout the practice this morning if there's just a lot of energy that's pent up inside of you. But I just feel that that always helps me release that energy. Otherwise, it just kind of gets stuck in my system and just keeps circulating. Otherwise, you can close the lips and just begin the Ujjayi breath, which is where we allow our exhale to gently stroke the back of the throat. It might sound like Darth Vader breath or ocean waves crashing. Then we'll start to add a little bit more movement. So we're going to take the right hand down by the right hip. We're going to sweep the left arm alongside the left ear and then fold over to the right. You might have to move your right hand down to the floor so you're not crunching into that right wrist. Really pressing up from the right wrist. Maybe gaze up under the left arm if your neck will allow it. We'll inhale and come back up, and we'll switch sides. So the left hand goes by the left hip. We'll sweep the right arm up alongside the right ear, and we'll fold over to the left. Again, you can move the left hand down to the floor if you need to. Maybe gaze up under the right arm this time. We'll inhale, we'll come back up to center. Then we'll fold over the bent legs any amount and rock from side to side. We'll inhale, we'll come back up to center. And then we'll go ahead and change the cross of the legs. And then we're going to take a rotation next here. So we'll inhale, we'll sit up nice and tall. We'll exhale, place the left hand on the right knee. And we'll begin rotating to the right using the abdominals, not the hand. With each inhale, get a little taller. With each exhale, rotate a little bit more. Eventually, you can gaze over the right shoulder. We'll inhale, we'll come back to center. We'll switch sides, so the right hand goes to the left knee. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, rotate over to the left. Again, using the abdominals to rotate, not your right hand. You can gaze over that left shoulder. We'll inhale, we'll come back to center. We'll fold over the bent legs again and sway from side to side. Maybe notice if this feels a little different since you have a different shin in front of you. And then we'll come back up. And then we're going to take, it's called a yoni mudra. So you make a triangle where your thumbs are touching and your index fingers are touching in kind of a downward triangle. And you're going to place that over your pelvic area with the index fingers kind of on your pubic bone. The thumbs are kind of just below your belly button. We're going to close the eyes here and just kind of focus the breath in our pelvic bowl. Just observe it. Do you notice, is it really warm? Is it cold? Do you notice sensations either in your pelvic bowl or in your fingers? Do you see any colors swirling as you focus your energy and your attention to your pelvic bowl? And then we'll blink the eyes open and we'll come onto our hands and knees. So you can move your cushion out of the way if you're sitting up on anything. So the wrists are underneath the shoulders. The knees are underneath the hips. The tops of the feet are pressing into the mat. We're going to take a few rounds of cat-cow here. So we'll inhale the forehead and the tailbone up. Exhale, pull the belly button back towards the spine. Inhale, bring the head and the tailbone up. Exhale, pull the belly button back. Inhale to come up. Exhale, pull back. And then take 2 more following your own breath at your own pace. And then we'll come back to our neutral spine, and then we're going to do some hip circles, so you have a couple options here. We'll start off by dropping the seat towards the feet and then bringing it forward, kind of making an oval drawing on your mat or on the floor. Make sure you're really pressing up from your wrists here, and most of the weight should be between your index finger and your thumb. Then switch directions. Then we'll come back to our cat-cow, and then we'll take another variation of hip circles. So it's kind of like a hula hoop, almost like you're 9 years old and you're using a hula hoop. So you're going to drop your pelvic, your pubic bone towards the floor, and then you're going to turn the tailbone up towards the ceiling. So the second chakra is in the pelvic bowl, as I said earlier. This is also where our emotions sit. So when we do hip work and pelvic work, switch directions. Sometimes you might have emotions that come up. You don't even know where they come from, and that's just because you're kind of moving that energy that might be stuck. So it's really all about just allowing yourself to feel what comes up and to not pass judgment on yourself. Your yoga mat is a safe space to express those emotions. So feel free to let out whatever is stuck. And then we'll come back to center. And then we'll do a little abdominal warm up here. So we're going to bring the right fingertips out in front of us on the mat or on the floor. We'll bring the left toes back behind us on the mat. You can keep your leg right here if you'd like. We're going to inhale, bring the right arm up alongside the ear. If you want a little bit more, you can begin to lift the left foot up off the mat, maybe just an inch or two, maybe all the way up to hip height. Don't go any higher than your hip though. Pull that belly button in towards the spine, reach through the right fingertips, press through the left heel. Take a couple more breaths here. Well, exhale, lower down. Then we'll bring the left fingertips out in front, the right toes come back behind us. We'll inhale, lift that left arm up alongside the left ear. And again, you can leave the foot, the toes on the floor on the right foot, Or you can begin to lift that right foot up, maybe all the way up to hip height, maybe just a couple inches, just wherever your body needs to be this morning. And we'll exhale, we'll lower everything down, and then we'll take a child's pose. So you can bring the knees together, lower the torso down, hands are stretched out, elbows are lifted. If you have a yoga block, you can place that under your forehead. Or if that's uncomfortable for you, you can widen the knees and then lengthen the arms out in front. Again, the forehead touching the mat or resting on a block. The tailbone is reaching toward the heels. Elbows are lifted, arms are active. And we'll inhale, we'll come back up to our tabletop position. And then we're going to walk the hands about a palm's distance in front of us. We're going to flip the toes onto the mat, and then we're going to pull the hips up and back into our first downward facing dog. So feel free to pedal your calves out here. You can pedal the feet. We call this walking the dog. And then we'll inhale, we'll come and walk the feet up to the top of the mat. We'll take a forward fold here. Feel free to bend your knees, especially if your hamstrings or the backs of your thighs are tight. You can clasp the elbows and allow the top of the head to lengthen towards the floor. Feel free to shake your head no and nod your head yes. Again, practicing those boundaries here. And then we're going to just slowly roll up one vertebra at a time, rolling the torso up to standing. Roll the shoulders back a few times. So we're standing in our mountain pose. Feet are about hip distance apart. Weight is even between all four corners of the feet. We're going to take our little yoni mudra again and place it on our pelvic bowl. Index fingers are on the pubic bone, thumbs just below the belly button. Pull the tailbone down towards the heels. Check in with your pelvic bowl. Maybe notice if the temperature or the sensations have changed from the seated pose we did earlier. And I invite you to actually ask your pelvic bowl, what are your dreams? What are your desires? What do you want to create? Continue sending breath through your yoni mudra. tune in to what the answer may be. And then you can release the hands down by your side. And we're going to take just one sun salutation to kind of get the body warmed up. So especially when I'm feeling some PMS anxiety or frustration, I really like doing sun salutations because it just kind of is a rhythmic way to move my body, and it really helps me to kind of get out of my head, tune into my body a little bit more, and also kind of work that energy out. But if you haven't done a sun salutation before, some people can be intimidated by it. So we're going to take it nice and slow, and you can go at your own pace, and you can always pause the video if you're watching the recording later on. So we're going to stand with our feet hip distance apart, just like we were doing. Knees are slightly bent. We're going to inhale, and we're going to sweep the arms up and around. Palms come together at the top. We're going to exhale and bring the hands together at heart center. And then we're going to inhale, bring the arms back up, sweep the arms down as we bend and fold into a forward fold. Feel free to bend the knees here. And if your chest is kind of getting in the way and making this uncomfortable, or your belly, you can always place some blocks in front of your feet for the forward fold, so that just kind of creates more space in the torso area. Then we're going to inhale, we're going to lift the torso halfway up, so as you can see, the blocks are really helpful for that. And then we're going to exhale, we're going to plant the hands down on the mat, and we're going to step the feet back and lower into our tabletop position. And then we're going to lower the torso all the way down to the mat. We want tops of the feet pressing into the mat. All 10 toes are pressing into the mat. We're going to pull the tailbone towards the heels. The hands are underneath the shoulders. And we're going to inhale and lift the torso, or at least the chest, up into cobra. Then we're going to exhale. We're going to push the hips back to our tabletop position. And then we're going to pull the hips up and back for downward facing dog. So again, feel free to pedal the feet out here to stretch your calves out. Then we're going to step the feet up to the top of the mat. Bend the knees a little bit here. We're going to inhale, lift the torso halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up and around. And exhale the hands to heart center. So we'll take a few breaths here in our mountain pose. You can also bring your hands down to your pelvic bowl, your yoni mudra if you'd like. It's really important to cultivate a relationship with this part of our body. For so many centuries, we've been taught to kind of cut ourselves off from our pelvic area. So sometimes it takes time to build that relationship once again. So if you don't feel any sensations, if it feels very cold down here, it's okay. But it's kind of like an old friend that you maybe haven't kept in touch with as much as you'd like to. So just reestablishing that relationship, sometimes it takes a little more time. So that's why we're spending some time today focusing on that. And then we're going to blink the eyes open, and we're going to go ahead and do a few more standing poses. So we're going to let's go ahead and turn to the side of our mats. Be a little bit easier here. We're going to step the feet apart. And then we're going to actually turn both feet to the top of the mat. So kind of on railroad tracks, so kind of parallel to one another. You might need to move the left foot back a little bit further, so the right foot is in front. We're going to bend the right knee. We're going to bend the left knee, and we're going to sweep the arms up alongside the ears. So we're going to do some dynamic stretching here. So you want to make sure the right knee is tracking over the right ankle. Got our left knee bent. We're going to inhale and then exhale, straighten that left knee. Inhale to bend it. Exhale to straighten. We'll do that a few more times. Inhale to bend. Exhale to straighten. 2 more. Inhale to bend. Exhale to straighten. 1 more. Inhale to bend. Exhale to straighten. So this is our high lunge here, our crescent pose. Might feel a nice stretch in the left hip flexor. Then we'll lower the arms down, we'll step the left foot forward, and we'll switch sides. So the right foot goes back 3 to 4 feet. Right heel is up off the mat, so we're on the right toes. We bend the left knee, so the left knee is tracking over the left ankle. And we're going to bend the right knee. We'll sweep the arms up alongside us. And if you feel a little wobbly, you can always bring your hands down to your hips. You could also pull the belly button in towards the spine. So we're going to do some dynamic stretching on this side. So we'll inhale, bend the right knee, exhale, straighten the right knee. Inhale to bend, exhale to straighten. Inhale to bend, exhale to straighten. Inhale to bend, exhale to straighten. Take a couple breaths here. And then we'll go ahead and lower the arms down. We'll step the right foot forward. And then we'll end our practice this morning with some seated, folded poses. So if you have a blanket or a smaller pillow, go ahead and grab that to sit on. We're going to come down onto the floor. And we're going to bring the feet out in front of us. Actually, go ahead and grab my blocks. You might want to have a couple smaller pillows nearby for some of our next poses. So forward folds are really great for introspection and trying to tune in to what our bodies are trying to tell us. So if you're afraid that you're going to hyperextend your knees in this forward fold, you can place a blanket or a pillow, like a lumbar pillow, underneath your knees, or you can always just bend the knees. So we're going to start out, we're going to do a single leg forward fold first. So we're going to bring the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. If you've got a block, you could place it under your left knee just to kind of take some tension out of the left hip area. We're going to sweep the arms up alongside the ears. Inhale and then exhale, fold forward over the right leg. So maybe you can only reach below your knee. That's totally fine. Maybe you can reach the ankles. If you have a strap, you can place the strap around the leg. Just make sure you're pulling the elbows out wide on either side of that leg. Or you can wrap the hands around the foot. So we'll inhale, we'll come back up. We'll exhale, lower the arms down, and we'll switch legs. So the left leg is going to come out front. Our right foot is going to come to the inside of our left thigh. We're going to sit up nice and tall, really rooting those sits bones down. We'll inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Again, if you've got a strap, feel free to use that. And if your hamstring is really tight, you can also bend that knee, maybe even allowing the torso to rest on the left thigh. That's fine. This pose is really great because you get a little bit of a twist as you're lining your torso up with your left leg, which is great for your digestion. You're also getting that introspection from the forward fold. And you're even getting a little stretch probably in your low back on the right side. Then we'll inhale, we'll come back up. And then we'll take a butterfly pose next. So we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. If you've got blocks or pillows, you can place them under your knees on both sides. We'll inhale, sit up nice and tall. We'll exhale, fold forward. So you can fold forward any amount. Maybe you only come right here. You can give yourself a little foot massage if you'd like. The arch of the foot kind of actually has similarities to our spine. So I always notice there's some tension in my feet that kind of corresponds with any tension I have in my back. So this pose is really helpful if you've got any cramping going on. I know I get cramps usually a couple days before my bleed begins. And it also helps to stretch out the low back. So if you've got any low back tension that you notice with your cycle, it's really helpful for that too. Then we're going to inhale and we're going to come back up. We're going to take our Yoni Mudra one more time. Actually, we'll go ahead and lay down in our Shavasana real quick, and then we'll do our. You can place your hands over your pelvic area. So Shavasana is our corpse pose. Helps us incorporate everything we've done in our practice. So you can either take a Yoni Mudra here, or maybe you can just place one hand over your pelvic bowl and one hand on your heart. Allow your feet to splay open naturally. So just tune into your breath here. Maybe express gratitude to your pelvic bowl for the creations that it's helped you to birth, whether that's actual children or other types of creations that you've come up with and shared with the world. Then you can bend your knees, roll over to your right side, take a couple breaths here, and then push yourself up to a comfortable seated position. I hope that this practice has helped you to tune in to your second chakra, your pelvic bowl, and your deepest desires. And I hope you have a great day ahead. You can bring your hands together at heart center. The compassion, the love, and the light in me honors the compassion, the love, and the light in you. Thank you for practicing with me this morning. Namaste. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week. Bye.